morning, Mason Kale here. I was driving to work thinking about the first step, and one of the things with me about the first step, powerless over alcohol, my life had become unmanageable, was really that feeling that I just needed some help. And I fought for so long, that I needed help from anybody for anything, for any, whether it be school, people, friends, relationships. I can do stuff on my own, and letting people into, what was going on with me was something that I just didn't do. So admitting that my life had become unmanageable was a pretty big step, and that's really what it boiled down to. The alcohol played a role in it, but my life had become unmanageable, and I needed some help. And I needed to be given that game plan, given those 12 steps, so that I could start figuring out how to get my life on track to where it was acceptable to me, start being able to do some good in the world, feel good about myself, form some real relationships. Until I came into the program, my relationships with people were give and take. They were manipulative. And once I came in, got a sponsor, started meeting people, started forming real relationships, about talking about how my life had become unmanageable, the powerlessness over alcohol, how it had changed me or what it had done to me. But starting to look at myself in that manner, not in a overly analytical way, just that my life was unmanageable, and it's that simple. Don't make too much out of it. Our lives become unmanageable. They go into that downward spiral, and you just don't know which way to turn. And what the 12 steps did to me, starting with the first step, was just started giving me some kind of game plan on a day-to-day, way of living. And the first step's the first step for a reason. We need to first, I remember hearing people say that, the programs, those 12 steps, they just brainwash you. And I've heard the cliches that maybe we just I needed a brainwashing. I just didn't know how to live. I didn't know how to deal with people. I didn't know how to deal with the ups and downs of life. I didn't know how to work myself through things, work my way through things. And the program and the steps, putting some kind of order in how to, taking a look at my life. Yes, it's unmanageable. How can we get the manageability back to it? Starting to think about and seek out a higher power. Starting to think that it's not all about me. Starting to think that the true, gratitude and good feelings from life comes from things that I do for others. Sometimes just showing up. And I remember, showing up, being willing to listen to what people that had been around for a little while had to say, what had worked for them, why they were there. And having coffee with people after meetings. I mean, my first job in an AA meeting was laying out the ashtrays before meetings and picking them up. Back then, the basement of churches and schools, there's a lot of smoking going on in AA meetings. And once you get a job, all of a sudden it's serious to get there 5 or 10 minutes early. All of a sudden it's a serious thing to make a commitment. But I wouldn't have done that had I not really felt that my life was unmanageable, making that admittance, learning that I was powerless over alcohol. It wasn't just an issue of maybe I should just drink beer, maybe I should just drink on the weekends, maybe I should just, drink after 5 o'clock at night, maybe I should only drink in social settings, not by myself, maybe I should, when you make all those rationalizations, that's when the powerlessness over alcohol became an issue with me, because I broke every one of those rules that I set myself. And it took a while, to realize that I just didn't need to slow down. I just didn't need to learn how to drink responsibly. I needed to learn how to live life without alcohol. And once you accept that, once you kind of look at that, and once you kind of step back and go, wow, my life has become unmanageable, and I'm powerless over alcohol, then you can start taking advice. You can start listening to people. You can start seeing what worked for them. You can start seeing the direction that you need to go. So it's not that the step takes a lot of work. It takes a humility. It's the first step in taking some of the pride and ego out of my personality, out of my life, which comes up again later in working the steps, of course, as well. But it's okay to show up and say, I'm not sure what's going on and I need a little help. It can be that simple. To say, hey, I need help, or hey, you want to have a cup of coffee? I got some things I'd like to talk about. You don't have to have the things to talk about. The thing to talk about is that my life's unmanageable and I don't know how to deal with it. And that's a huge step in your growth. That was a huge step in my growth and in my willingness to start reading the book, listening to a sponsor, getting a sponsor, sharing in meetings, not feeling like I was the only one going through it. I was going, being willing to let people in. So that's kind of what's on my mind this morning. I hope you have a great day. Any feedback is greatly appreciated. I love y'all. Have a great day.